Assalamualaikum everyone, welcome back. So today we are going to continue our topic with metal cutting part 3. Our topic today is machining center. So in the previous lecture we already see the process of milling, turning, drilling. So today we're going to look into machining center. What is machining center? Machining center is a highly automated machine tool where it can perform multiple machining operation under one setup, which is by using the CNC control. During this operation, minimal human attention is needed. Okay, so typical operation are milling and drilling, and there are also turning center. So usually the machine will have 3, 4, or 5 axes, and other features are like automatic tool changing, pallet shuttle, automatic work part positioning. So let's see the type of the machine center. Among the type of the machining center is CNC milling center, where all the operation of milling can be performed inside here. So for example, face milling, end milling, contour milling, and all type of a milling process can be performed in just one setup in the machine center. Apart from that, we also have CNC turning center. So all kind of turning operation can be performed inside here. For example, from facing to shaping to until the end of cutting cut off operation, everything can be performed in the CNC turning center. Even drilling and also threading process also can be performed in this turning center. Apart from turning center and milling center, there are also what we call as mill turn center. What is mill turn center? Mill turn center is a very highly automated machine tool where it can perform turning, milling, and drilling operation in one setup. So the general configuration of a turning center, it can position a cylindrical part at the specified angle. So a rotating cutting tool, for example milling cutter, can machine features into outside surface of the part. So the conventional turning center cannot stop work part at the defined angular position and does not include rotating tool spindle. This is the example of the latest mill turn center that available in the industry. This is the example of the operation of mill turn center. For example, part A is produced via the mill turn center. So what is the sequence of operation during this process? For the first one, turning process take place where the facing and also shaping to get the right dimension, diameter of the work part is produced via the turning process. And then the flat milling is performed to get the flat surface on the top of the cylindrical part. And then the third one is the hole is drilled on the part where the flat milling performed previously, and in the end when the product is already completed, the cut off process will take place and finish the product. So this is the simple process of operation of mill turn center. So here are some video on the machining center. You can refer to the video, you will see the operation. So please pay attention on how the tool change from one type of tool to another, and then how the operation is a continuous operation where it start from the work material till the end where you get the final product. Okay, so look how versatile and also how flexible is the operation. Okay, so please look into the video. Apart from the conventional process that we see previously like milling, turning, drilling, so there are also shaping and planing process. So shaping and planing process is a similar operation, Both of them use a single point cutting tool which move linearly relative to the work part in order to make a flat surface. Okay, but there are some difference in term of the operation of the shaping in between shaping and planning. Let us look into similarity of shaping and planning first. So both shaping and planning used for machining a straight flat surface. So it is also interrupted cutting operation where you can stop in between and then restart again. Okay, so it's subject tools to impact loading when entering work. Typical tooling will be single point high speed steel and low cutting speed due to the start and stop motion. Although it look the same in term of the operation where you want to get the flat surface, if you look into the machine, there are totally different operation. So the left side is shaper and the right side is planer. So let's see the difference between this operation. So here are some difference between shaping and planning operation. So the first one is in shaping, workpiece is held stationary while cutting tool is reciprocating across the bowl. The work means the cutting tool is the one that's moving instead of the workpiece. So for the planning, cutting tool will remain stationary while work table is reciprocating under the cutter. So meaning the table with the workpiece will be moving to for the cutting operation. So here quick return mechanism is integrated with the ram that hold the cutter. For the planning, quick return mechanism is integrated with the work table that hold the workpiece. So for shaping, workpiece bed impart feed motion while cutting tool give cutting motion. But for planing, workpiece table impart cutting motion and cutting tool will give the feed motion. So the last one is shaper is traditionally a small machine and prefer for small job, means the workpiece is smaller. For the planer, the machine itself is very large machine and it can accommodate a very heavy and large job. Here are some video link for the shaping and planning and also the difference between shaping and planning. The next process that we are going to look into is broaching. So broaching is a multiple tooth cutting tool which move linearly relative to work in direction of tool axis in order to create the final product. There are two types of broaching process. One is a straight broaching where the cutting tool is a straight long tool where the process can be performed in just one stroke. Okay, and another one is rotary broaching. Usually it can be used on a turning process. Okay, the tool is connected to the tailstock and then the process will take place on the z-axis truss. Okay, so we'll see the video for better understanding later. So here is how the broaching tool look like. So they have if you can look into this shape, the product will start from the small to a bigger size, if you can see here. Okay, so each of this part is a tool, actually a cutting teeth. Okay, the tooth. They're going to start by a small part and then it goes up and enlarge the process where it goes from roughing to semi-finishing, finishing, and until the end. Okay, so there are two types of broaching. They have internal and also external broaching. So this is showing the example of internal broaching. So the final shape will look like this one. You can shape into circle, rectangular, hexagon, square, keyway, double keyway, and also spline. Okay, so some typical example of surface broaching profile look like this one. Okay, so let's see the operation. This picture shows how the cutting tooth look like and how the final product look like after the broaching process. So the first one is showing the 4-spline cutting tool, the broach tool. Okay, and the top part is how the final product will look like. Okay, so this one is the double keyway. This is the part that produced through the broaching process. Okay, so this one is showing the hexagon produced via the broaching process, and then square round corner, square, and also rectangular cut. So as I've mentioned previously, there are two types of broaching. One is external and one is internal. So the crosshatch indicate the surface broach. Okay, so this is example for the external. So external meaning the broaching is happen at the outside part of the work material. Okay, so this is the part that being broached. Okay, so the internal broaching, so this is the internal broaching where the keyway and the part here is produced via the inside the of the work material. Okay, so that's how the internal and external broaching. So some advantages of the broaching are it can produce a very good surface finish and close tolerance. Apart from that, it also can it has the ability to create variety of work shapes. So the cutting tool is called broach, and owing to the complicated and often custom shape geometry, the tooling is very expensive due to that. Here is some video for the broaching process. Please look into the video to look into the operation so that you will understand how the broaching is performed. The next process we're going to look into is sawing. So sawing is a cut narrow slit in the work by a tool consisting of a series of narrowly spaced teeth. So the tool is called saw blade. So the typical function usually to separate the work into two pieces, cut off unwanted portion of part, and also cut outline of the flat part. The three common type of sawing are power hacksaw, bandsaw, and also circular saw. So for the power hacksaw, usually the cutter will go back and forth. Okay, so for the bandsaw, usually the tool is move continuously in like a belt. So it's going up, and then the tool will go up and down like this one, so the cutter will work continuously. So for the circular saw is usually a big circular tool where it move, and then we just feed the work part towards the circular saw. So that's the end of part 1. See you in part 2.